Well, that takes us on to Smallville. It's funny, I think the last episode or two we said something along the lines of, it kind of settled into a groove of just being really mediocre for a while. There hadn't been any truly awful episodes in a good bit of time. Oh boy, did it come swinging this week. Did it come swinging? Oh dear.
Oh, it did.
Let's just get the annoying Superman lines out of the way that were forced and atrocious.
They get it out of the way. It's like the first line of the episode.
There's two. There's two.
Well, there is, but this one particularly bothered me because it was the first thing that was said to him.
Yes. There's like a recruitment thing going on, and it's the military guy says to him.
Yeah, it's a job fair.
Yeah, and the military guy says to him, "I see you in a suit and flying." I don't think that's the worst one. I think the Chloe one later is even worse.
No. That one is objectively worse, but this one annoyed me more because it's the first thing. It's just right out the gate.
All right, I can see that. This one felt way more forced to me because she gets mad at Clark. We'll get into that why in a second. But she turns around and says, they say some men are from Mars, but you're from a distant planet and a distant galaxy I've never even heard of. And I'm like, oh my god, no one would ever say that. This is shocking. In fact, speaking of things that no teenager has ever said, later on when the douchebag from the OC is hitting on Chloe and they're in the hallway and he's like, I've been reevaluating my life, and then she goes, I've been reevaluating my life as well. No teenager in the history of the universe has ever said the sentence, I am reevaluating my life. Right?
No. I'll give credit to the first one who's been in a life-changing accident. That I think you might say that then, even as a teenager. You're like, well, everything that you knew.
It's more believable. I'm not saying it's still not a stretch, but I'll agree it's more believable than Chloe saying it.
Yeah, see, when he says it, I'm like, sure, maybe it's a stretch, but I'll buy it. It's fine. When she says the same thing, it's like, nah, shut up.
Yes, because every single time a teenager doesn't get the crush they wanted, or doesn't, the boy they ask out doesn't, it's like, oh, I'm reevaluating my life because the crush doesn't like me back. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Anyway, so yes, what's his face? What's his name?
I don't know.
Brody. That's the actor's name. Adam Brody.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
His character is just floaty fingers, dude.
That implies he's floating fingers around. That's not exactly what's happening.
Yeah, floaty McFingers.
His hand is mangled, or both hands are mangled. He was an artist, so he's upset, but he's got telekinesis now. Or telekinesis. I don't know why I said telekinesis.
I assume I'm going to try and defend you here. Feel free to shut me down and be honest. That you were going to say telekinetic and changed your mind halfway.
Maybe. Instead, what came out is a future sci-fi channel movie about a telekinetic Loch Ness monster called Telekinesis.
Oh, I'd so watch that. Do you know what? Sci-fi, I don't even care. Steal that idea. We don't need anything from it. Don't need any acknowledgement. We just need it to exist.
Telekinesis. Oh, anyway. So, he's upset. He uses his powers to kill the doctor that fixed them because he's a bit of a dick. And then he comes back to Smallville. Apparently, Chloe knew him already. He was in the school, before the show started. He's just been gone because he's been,
injured
the whole time. And okay, fair enough. And then Chloe gets mad at Clark because Clark forgot to book tickets to some journalism fair.
I'd say pretty understandably at this point.
No, it's fair. She's right to be annoyed at him, but it does escalate to a ridiculous, childish height as it goes on.
It does. It starts off. It's like she's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to this thing, and Clark's like, why are you going? Metropolis this weekend? She's like, we're going to Metropolis because you booked that thing, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I may have forgotten.
And Pete pointing out the obvious here is that she was looking forward to spending a day with you with no one else around, because whenever Lan is around, no one else exists. What really so this episode is full of bullshit relationship, crappy writing and acting, right? It's full of it. And what really bugs it in this one is that we have to entertain the idea that Clark might actually think he's got feelings for Chloe. And maybe it's because I've seen the rest of the show and know that this never really goes anywhere. So it just feels especially pointless.
No, I think what is so egregious about it is he conveniently has no idea until it's like, oh, she likes you, and then it's like, Yeah, okay, maybe.
Yeah, he's basically a teenage boy who's went, oh, she's into me? You know, I could consider it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what he does. But the whole thing is just there so that we can have Lana looking jealous, because now she's jealous of Chloe, because Clark's maybe off the table, kind of like how she was with Whitney, which, by the way, she flat out admits at one point that that she was only still with Whitney because she felt bad about his dying dad.
She was about to tell him, hey, Whitney, maybe let's just not do this anymore.
Yeah, she was going to break up with him, but then he's like, my dad's dead. And then we get the most over-the-top, slow-motion in the rain funeral scene, which...
Oh, what was the song? Oh, God.
Time After Time.
Yes.
There was a cover,
it was like a slow country cover.
What got me about this, though, is it basically killed... Because right before this... Before the Lana Whitney scene, Clark and Chloe like, oh, let's go to that journalism thing, and then they hold hands, and it was kind of like, oh, maybe they will have a relationship of some kind, maybe they are going somewhere. This immediately just died in this scene because Chloe looks at Clark as he's staring at Lana in the rain, and then walks away, and then Clark's left on his own, and he walks off into the night in the rain. What? What?
Oh, I hate this episode.
Oh, this is like everything you hated about Smallville is just back with a vengeance. All of it, every part of it.
Yeah. We have to kind of relax over the last few weeks. Like, yeah, it's not so bad, right?
We had to suffer through a scene in which Clark's asking Lana for advice about Chloe, and actually brings up, not naming her obviously, but just says, oh yeah, I mean, I had like, feelings for someone and didn't act on it once, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to be their friend or not. And she's like, and Chloe knowing he's talking about her, right, because it's as subtle as a dump truck, and she's like, oh well, what happened? It's like, oh, we're still friends. Do you regret not doing something? He's like, yes. The time passed and I don't think it can ever happen again. And you can basically see her eyes streaming, no, it's not past. I'm wide open here, Clark. I'm wide open. Go for it. Go for it. Whitney's a loser. His dad's dying. He's pathetic. Come at me. Remember that episode where I was taken over by the flower and I was getting all slutty? Yeah, I was only half pretending to forget that. I was into it all. Right, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like screaming at him with her eyes, and it's just like, oh my god, everything about it is so unsubtle in both sides, and yet somehow they're both too stupid to realize that the other, like, or at least he's too stupid to realize that she's...
No, he's stupid and oblivious. She's going, go on, be the man, ask me out. She's just waiting for it.
Which again, she's still kind of in the wrong here because she's not actually broken up with Whitney yet. If she wants him to actually go for it, it's almost like deniability. It's like, oh, if they get caught into trouble, then she can. Oh well, he asked me. I didn't pursue anything. Like, you know, plausible deniability. Yeah. That's what that is.
It is, yeah.
Oh my god.
It really is.
And I actually feel bad. Whitney's the most sympathetic character on this show at this point. The poor bastard. I
can't believe that you're saying that, and that's true.
The poor bastard is getting dumped by Lana. His dad just died. He's actually being nice to Clark. He's been nice to Clark for like the last 2/3 of the season, and Clark's secretly trying to bang his girlfriend. Wallace is at his dad's funeral.
Oh man.
I'm surprised they didn't just go for it right there, just like interrupt the priest at the service, just be like, hey Lana, do you want to go out Saturday night? Oh, continue, sir.
I could have seen it.
It's just usually all across, hey Whitney, do you think we could put you and Lana's relationship in the coffin with your dad just while we're here? Is that good? Is that a good idea? I think we should do that. Let's do that. Let's put it in. Get the photo albums out. We'll put it in with your dead dad, because that's how dead your relationship with Lana is. Dead is your father, who's dead.
Do you know what the worst part about all this is? Everything you just said is no less subtle than what actually happens in the episode.
I mean, I'm making Clark to be even more of a dick, but yeah.
Yeah. The level of subtlety, though, is exactly the same.
Oh dear. And we kind of glossed over the actual villain plot because, you know, ultimately it's just kind of forgettable. I suppose I should give it a little bit of credit because obviously he was in a hit and run. That's why he got injured. And Chloe runs the place. Somehow, even though it's at least been 9 months since this happened, right? The police haven't even checked the partial license plate that he gave them. And Chloe checks it. and it turns out to be the principal. And I'll give them credit, because at least that's a character who's established and who's been around for a few episodes, right? There's been at least maybe 3 or 4 episodes where he's popped up.
Yeah, I feel like he's not been in a lot, but he's been around for maybe half the season.
Yeah, no, he was in the fire one, which was episode 3. So he's been spread out throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
So him actually dying in this episode was like, oh, that's almost surprising, because he has been around, even if he's not a huge character. He's been established, which is kind of nice.
No, it's true.
I mean, the fact that it turned out it was his son who was driving his car, I was like, whatever. I mean, I don't really care. But
yeah. It almost feels like they're going, hey, you know that hit television show that had a running joke with its principals? We want to get in on that.
Which hit television show was that, Connor?
I don't know. It's blanking.
No, it's not.
I know there was one.
No. Right now, you're Lana. You're just not saying it. Your eyes are saying it. But you're begging me to be the one to do it.
Well, it's your shtick. It's your job.
Yes. I mean, Principal Quan's not as good as Schneider as Flitty, but I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying they're aping the formula.
Okay. Although Principal Snyder's a legend. He's like one of my favorite high school principals in like TV history. He's so good.
I'm not sure I can dispute that.
Anyway, so he dies, and then he finds out Chloe sort of eventually suspects. And that was one of the frustrating things, is like there were several scenes of Clark coming to Chloe, like, oh, I don't trust this guy, there's something suspicious. And she just kind of throws it out the window. It's like, oh, Clark, is this because you're jealous, or because, oh, now I'm off the table?
And to be fair, the first time it is.
The first time it kind of is. Once he actually like gets some proper evidence, though, she just kind of still ignores him until she finds the drawings. Because, yeah, by the way, if you want to cover your tracks, if you've been murdering people, maybe don't draw comics like actually depicting the scene of the crime. Maybe just an idea. I don't know.
It's usually good idea to do that, right?
I guess it's no different from serial killers who take photos because they can't help but like catalog it. You know, they want to preserve it.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't fault it in the psychology in this sense, but still, I'm going to point out and say...
It's stupid on both of them, though, isn't it? Oh,
it is, yeah. I mean, but hey, they're less concerned with being caught and more about getting off and what they're doing.
And let's talk about the offensively bad CG.
Oh yeah, it's Chloe's kissing with Brody's character, who was Justin Gaines.
No, Floaty McFingers. I'm pretty sure that's not even the same thing I said before.
It's not. But they kiss, and as they're kissing, it's basically that thing that sometimes happens with Superman, actually, where he gets lost in the kiss, so he starts floating, kind of idea. Yeah. But instead of this, he's got telekinesis, so everything else starts floating. So we get these awful CGI, like staplers and scissors and...
Yeah, do you know what the worst place is? When they're floating at first, it's not good. It's still bad, but it's not offensively bad yet. The moment when the camera starts doing it, does the CG spin?
Oh yeah.
That's when I wanted to vomit. Like, because it was just so ugly.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was like, you are like 10 years too early to even try this. Don't even dare.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I'm like, you know what? This is such a simple thing though. Get some string, hold them up, and just CG out the string. That's how you're supposed to do it at this time period. You god damn it.
And just move the camera. You're only moving in a circle. You're not doing anything fancy.
Oh dear, yeah, it was awful. It was awful. And after this, like when she realizes they're floating, and he kind of tells her about it, as if she's going to be scared of him, and she's like, "I've seen Stranger Things," and I'm like, "No, you haven't, Chloe. It's at least 15 years before that show starts. Shut up."
Oh God. That was an awful one. I'm not giving you that.
That was great. That's all I could think about in that series. Since she said I've seen Stranger Things, all I could hear was the theme music in my head. And how much I'd rather be watching Stranger Things.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Not really applicable to this show, though, is it?
So yeah. So then when he finds out Chloe's realised what he's done, he tries to kill her with a horseshoe. Which it was a funny knockout scene. You know, the horseshoe just sort of clonked her on the head, and then Clark came in.
Conveniently, so Clark can arrive and get the second bit of awful CG with the chainsaw. Was it chainsaw?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
So I
want to say chainsaw, and it comes at him, and he jumps in front of the way, and it all splits apart.
Yeah, I think it was a chainsaw.
I want to say yeah. This episode was really not memorable, was it? In the terms of the plot itself.
No, it wasn't. And that was the thing. The actual plot of the villain per se was actually quite a relatively small part of it overall, really, because it was mostly about the love triangle bullshit going around. So I don't know. But anyway, we should probably mention Lexi's subplot as well, which was just kind of there.
Lex had a subplot?
Yeah, like his old nanny who like took care of him when his mum was dying. She came to like say sorry for like leaving, and said that Lionel made her leave even though she promised she'd stick around because she loved him. And then Lex has it to piss off. He doesn't care about her, and then finds out she's dying of cancer, and then goes and sees her, and makes amends, and that's the whole thing.
It has no point except to add in about 7 minutes of runtime.
Yeah, it's basically just Lex needs something to do this episode, other than that one scene where he gives Clark advice.
It really feels like, well, we're paying him, we might as well use him.
Yeah, it does really feel like that. I feel like you could have used that time, not that the rest of the episode was good, but you could have used that time to develop your villain plot a little bit better, maybe raise the stakes, I don't know, the victim maybe, I don't know. Any of these things.
Just finish the episode 7 minutes earlier.
Well, sure.
That's all out of our misery.
We'd love that. Also, was Jonathan not in this episode? I feel like there was no Jonathan.
I'm trying to think of what scenes we had in the house.
There was a little bit of Martha, but
I'm thinking when Clark he mentions about Chloe to them, right?
Does he?
I don't know.
See, you said that, and all you said that, and all I can think is the scene in Lois and Clark when he tells him about
That's
Lois.
The thing. I'm picturing that, but I'm feeling like there was a similar scene here. But maybe there wasn't, and I'm just kind of adding that in because I feel like it should have been there. Maybe.
I don't know. It's just because John Schneider's pretty good, so he's missed when he's not around. Yes, So, and Pete
still does nothing.
Yeah, Pete technically had more to do in this one than he's done before, though, just because he actually had some important plot things to tell Clark, which is more than usual.
He had exposition.
That's still important plot things. It's not good important plot things, but it's still important plot things.
You're getting worse every time you say that.
Important plot things, important plot things, important plot things, important plot things, plot things, and important plot things.
So you were thinking about it then, so you got a bit better.
What can I say? Smallville makes me miserable.
That was tame.
And non-committal.
I honestly thought you were going to go with suicidal.